Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Since the Mizukage isn't here, I just wanted to take this opportunity to congratulate your sister on her upcoming marriage, Kage, Kakashi said, smiling at the young leader before him. The 5-Kage summit is today and it's better for everyone's health if they discussed this topic while the Mizukage wasn't around. Things could get nasty otherwise. Besides, they have been at it for the better part of the day now, so most tempers are likely running short. When the other cages arrived at dawn, they didn't waste any time and promptly got to the business at hand. Boring reports after boring reports were passed around containing trade proposals, joint missions, and an interesting study program. The Mizukage had already snapped once when she heard the word proposal. It was a good thing that it got clarified right away. It didn't stop there though. The Tsuchikage yelled at everyone for the smallest things and the rakage was too intense. The Kage was stoic like always and Kakashi just wanted it to be over. His eyes hurt from reading small letters and his ears were still ringing from the shouting matches. He suffered through 3 arguments just this morning and because of it, no one was in the mood to eat lunch. The room had no window but if Kakashi had to guess, it was now late afternoon. He'd rather not start trouble. Arigato gozaimasu, I'm certain that Tamari would appreciate it. Gaara acknowledged the Hokage with a nod. This marriage between the Nara head and your sister solidifies the peace between Tsunagaker and Konohagakure, as you are well aware, Kage. Other people might say that you are moving pawns around and that you might have different plans in mind, Onoki commented with a frown. I did not and would not interfere with my sister's love life. She's marrying Shikamaru because she truly has affections for him and that's that. No one can tell Tamari what she can and can't do, Gaara replied evenly. As for myself, I refuse to use my siblings for political purposes, it's that simple. Political marriages can be wholly advantageous when done right, a put-in, slamming the table in the process. The room's temperature suddenly spiked and the men saw that steam had slowly gathered in the doorway. It filled the room and revealed an outline of a woman, her hair like a veil of hissing snakes behind. Bloody snakes. Marriage. Are you all talking about weddings without me? The Mizukage asked, a menacing aura around her. Iye. It's just. Kakashi immediately tried to explain but the Tsuchikage cut him off. It's the Kage. We're discussing if he's interested in a marriage alliance between one of our villages. Onoki didn't care about the Mizukage's delicate sensibilities when it came to these things, his back was hurting and he just wanted to rest. They should just say what they wanted to say and be done with it. This meeting had gone on long enough. The Rakage decided to throw his support behind Kakashi. We don't have to talk about that. Let's just proceed to the real agenda now that you're here, Mizukage-sama. Nani? Iye please, do continue. I also think it's a good idea. If you don't already have someone in mind of course Kage-sama, the female godime said, fanning herself and sighing dreamily. This is an important issue as well and we should all help solve it if we can. Helping each other should be our priority. Gaara raised an invisible eyebrow but answered nonetheless. No, I don't. But I don't think this is a proper topic in an official summit, he then gave a pointed look to the other cages. Kakashi opens his mouth to agree but may beat him to it. Nani? You don't know what you're saying Gaara-sama. She exclaimed, looking thoroughly outraged. May stands to make her point clear. As I've said, this is a matter of importance. Marriage is life. Why? I'm still searching for my one and only, you know. I plan to have an extraordinary wedding myself someday. I'm inviting all of you in advance by the way, so please all of you, save the date. Anyway, it's better late than never, right? The Mizukage turned and pointed at each of the cage and stopped to look directly at the youngest cage. Now is the perfect time to take action while you're still young and in your prime. Mizukage-sama, we should really. Kakashi interjected, but he quickly changed his mind when he felt a chill spider down his back. Ask the Kage if he agrees to all of this first. This is his life we're talking about after all, he finished lamely. I see the logic to it, so I am willing to give it a try, Gaara said, his expression blank as usual. Great. I mean, I might have someone in mind. May clapped her hands in glee, an alarming glint in her green eyes. She's nice, pretty, and sharp. You'll like her. Oh, and she comes from a noble family as well, so there's no problem there. Just you wait a minute. Onoki demanded, scowling at the Mizukage. He won't let them outmaneuver him. I have a granddaughter, you should meet her too. She's strong, stubborn, and independent, the perfect wife, if you ask me. You mean Kuratsuchi-san? May asked as she sat, not hiding her grimace. Hi. The Tsuchikage glared at the other cage. What of it? Do you have a problem with my granddaughter? I just do not think that she and Gaara-sama are suited for each other, that is all, the Mizukage replied, crossing her arms and barely holding back her derisive sniff. Why you? Onoki growled, his face was but a few inches away from the Mizukage's. The kunoichis in my village would probably kill me if I tried to suggest anything regarding this matter. But, I'll try to ask my kids if they know someone. I'm sure they wouldn't lead you astray, they're your friends after all, Kakashi stepped in, trying to defuse the quickly escalating situation. Many kunoichis will throw themselves at your feet if we tell them you're searching for a bride, amused, a hand under his chin. Since a big event will cause unnecessary risk on security, I guess I'll just have to recommend a kunoichi or two. You are right, Raikage, I would prefer for this to be a private affair, Gaara said, a thoughtful crease on his forehead. If we are truly going through with this, I have some rules and I wish for all of them to be strictly followed. Of course, May reassured, smiling and ignoring the Tsuchikage. That's that then, a relieved-looking Kakashi agreed. No complaints here, Onoki said, sending one last glare at the only woman in the room. Sure, just to get this over with. A waved dismissively. Gaara gave them a curt nod and then, he took a pen and paper to write as he speaks. First, a time limit. All of you should send me a dossier of your chosen candidate within a month, no more, no less. Second, I'll only accept one girl from every village. I do not want this to be a big affair, hence that rule. He stopped to compose the other phrases in his mind. He needed to word this carefully or this might backfire on him. He definitely doesn't want his siblings to find out about this. Or at least, not right away. They had become more protective after he told them what happened at the Hoki clan incident. If other cages are going to get involved, Gaara wants this to run as smoothly as possible. Triple checking the girls' backgrounds and tailing them for months was the opposite of that. So are initial, second, and final interviews, 2 combat practices, and an IQ exam. Third, I will spend time with every candidate from each village. When he saw the others taking notes, Gaara continued. After I've spent time with all of them, then and only then, I'll finally choose a girl based on my experience. As the final test, I shall invite this girl to Sunagaku to observe her there. That's going to be the mechanics of the selection. My fourth and my last rule, keep this a secret. Only the people in this room can know about this conversation. No one, not even my siblings, can know about this. Are those acceptable to you? Gaara finally raised his head and asked. When Gaara hears a chorus of yeses, he stood and quickly strode to the door. He needed air to clear his head. Gaara left his cage robes in the arms of an unsuspecting assistant of the Hokage. He didn't have the patience to do anything else, he needed to get out. No one spared him a second glance as he walks the busy streets of Konoha. Gaara thought that he had left the marriage talk in Suna, but even his fellow cages hounded him. Yes, he understood that producing an heir is necessary, but he couldn't help but find the whole process irritating. They couldn't control him due to his strength, so they found other means, through a wife. If he finds a bride in another village, it's less likely that the elders in Suna would have influence over her. If Gaara was in his village, He'd take his sand cloud and fly around Suna to get away from everything and clear his mind. But since he's still in Konoha, he had to content himself with just walking aimlessly. He sighed internally and let his eyes roam. He'll think more about all this later. This village had its own charm and Gaara knew that he was fortunate to experience it. He almost didn't after all. He had tried to destroy it when he was still consumed with selfishness and hate, and it was then that he met Uzumaki Naruto. His first friend. The crisp summer breeze that blew in Konoha was so unlike Suna's constant strong winds. The consistent sense of leaves tickled his skin. There were many colorful shops and restaurants everywhere. The people and shopkeepers shouting or just talking to each other was a novelty to see. Though it's nearly sundown, the people are still outside, waiting to partake in the lively nightlife. Gaara's stomach reminded him that he needs to at least eat something before going back. He tends to forget to eat regularly, especially now that Tamari wasn't always there to lecture him about it. He wanted more time to himself, so he circled and took the longer route to Ichiraku's. If he's going to eat something, he'll have the best. Gaara kept up his leisurely pace walking. It's not the first time he ignored his hunger after all. He was about to make a turn when he smelled something. A familiar sweetness tempered with a strong aroma. It was the enticing scent of freshly baked bread. Gaara followed his nose to see a girl standing beside him. She's delicate looking with her slender frame and small stature, the top of her head barely reached his chin. She was wearing a simple mint green off-shoulder dress with an elegant pattern of blossoming yellow tulips on the hem and standard shinobi sandals. Her long hair is in a side ponytail adorned with a white bow. A kurigakure headband is on her forehead. Their gazes met yet she lowered hers instantly, but not before Gaara caught a glimpse of vivid violet. The girl stood still for a moment but she managed to cross the small distance between them. Here you go Kazekage-sama. It's called a mocha bun. It's delicious, please try it, she offered. Gaara stopped and the girl dropped the bread. He put out a hand to catch it. Go on, don't be shy, she told him, her cheeks tinged pink. Gaara observed this unusual creature who approached him. People didn't do that unless they are required to or they are his friends and siblings. She's holding out the bag of bread to him, her gaze fixed firmly on the ground. The girl seemed harmless enough. Though looks are often deceiving. Gaara mentally scolded himself for that thought. They were trying to put the era of suspicions behind them after all. So Gaara decided to risk it. He did not feel a malicious intent coming from her anyway. He promptly raised his hand and took a bite. It's delicious. The bitter flavor of the mocha contrasts with the sweetness of the bread. It also had a soft texture that quickly breaks apart when he chews. The girl was openly staring at him now. Her eyes were like a does, big and round. It was in fact a deep yet clear shade of purple. Gaara broke the silence. You're right, it's good. Arigato gozaimasu. He finished it in just a few bites. A smile lit up the girl's face. What did I tell you? Of course it tastes great. She bragged, a little indignation coloring her tone. Now, she shook the bag in front of him to make her point. She grounded to a halt when she processed who she's talking to. Red filled her cheeks and she made a hasty bow. Sumimasen, sir. I did not mean to be so rude, my lord, she apologized, hugging the bag to her chest and refusing to meet his eyes. Gaara shook his head. You were not, you just gave me delicious food and for that, you have my thanks, he assured her and walked past. He could no longer ignore his protesting stomach, a measly bread won't do. Oh. She squeaked, but she's making eye contact again. There's more, if you want. We could share, she offered again as she jogged to catch up to him. Since she's being generous and Gaara really liked the taste of the bread, he took another bun, and the two of them munched until they got to the restaurant. Ichiraku ramen. I wonder if it tastes as good as it smells. The girl mused while looking up at the sign. I've never tasted anything better, Gaara confirmed. Oh, really? Long slender fingers grasp his sleeve and casually drag him inside. What are we standing here for? Let's go in then. I would like to try one. Ichiraku Ramen is a very busy place. Due to Naruto's endorsement, it had gotten larger and many customers from different villages were now eating here. The staff was running back and forth, serving people non-stop. Orders were shouted left and right. There were no empty tables. If someone finished their meal, there's always someone who will take their place when they leave. This is how it is now. It's a good thing for them that the girl is quick and she managed to find them a table. When they sat, the waitress took their orders immediately. A large miso ramen for me with Naruto fish cake for toppings, Gaara ordered from the top of his head. It had been his usual order. She scanned the menu at first but eventually decided to copy him. All have the same, arigato. Okay. It'll just be a few minutes, the server said, and she bustled off to attend to their other customers. She placed the bag of bread between them so they ate it while waiting. Where did you buy these? Gaara finally asked. I baked them. It's my hobby actually, I also bake when I'm stressed. How about you, my lord, do you have any hobbies at all? As if realizing that she'd asked a personal question, she waved her hands in front of her face and said, of course, you don't have to answer that if you don't want to. Actually, you aren't required to talk to me either. So please, feel free to ignore me. She turned away with red cheeks. Gaara thought that the girl blushed a lot. Since she had skin like a porcelain doll's, it was more apparent. Cacti? Gaara blurted out. She jolted back to face him. Her large violet eyes are now focused on Gaara. So Gaara elaborated. My hobby is taking care of cactus. The corner of her mouth curved upwards. Really? Why? I mean, is there a particular reason why you got into that as your hobby? She asked him question after question. Are they cute? Does it relaxes you, or are they useful, or do you just like them? Gaara thought about it for a moment, but decided to tell her the truth. I guess it calms me in some way. It's also nice to take care of something. You really do have a loving heart, don't you? The smile she gave him was different this time, it was softer and had a certain gentleness to it. Now that Gaara was looking at her more closely, he saw that she had a heart-shaped face, button-up nose, and a lovely mouth. It was small like a petal of a newly bloomed rose. That information makes his heart skip a beat and Gaara doesn't understand why. The girl's eyes warmed into a lighter shade. Her elbow is on the table, one cheek in her palm, and she was staring straight at him. If that's the case, I'm happy for you. You had me worried there. Relief shone in her eyes, but her face was apple red again. Seeing his slightly narrowed eyes, she said, Hey, please don't look at me like that. It's just good to know that someone like you has something to look forward to. You are a busy man, being a cage and all that. The girl suddenly sits up straight, looking determined. She puffed up her cheeks and continued, begging your pardon, sir, but I'll be blunt here. We're the same age, you should have fun too. You shouldn't just have work 24/7, you know. It's not healthy. She's gazing at her fingers now, as if they were the most fascinating creatures in the universe. Gaara raised an invisible eyebrow. Your concern is appreciated, Ojou-san, though a bit unnecessary. But, I thank you all the same. Oh, of course. She briefly looked up but didn't make eye contact again. Sumimasen Kage-sama. The awkward tension was painful, but it lifted when their food came. They gave their thanks and ate in silence, but the girl inevitably breaks it to say, oh my, this really is the most delicious food I've ever eaten. You're right, Kage-sama, I owe you for this. She gave him a shy smile and continued eating. Gaara nodded at her and they spent their time enjoying their meal. When they're done, the girl puffed up her cheeks to steel herself and tapped Gaara on the shoulder. When he looks up, she started speaking. I know that I'm being presumptuous yet again for saying this, but I think you need to hear it. You, Sabaku no Gaara, are a kind and loving person. You are fair, brave, and tenacious. I lost hope that this shinobi world could ever change, but you sure proved me wrong. You showed the whole world that Jinchurikis aren't just weapons and that they. No, you truly care for others. She raised a finger. We're enjoying this era of peace partly because of you. You convinced the 5 cages and rallied an army made up of the shinobi from the 5 great nations just to protect a friend. Don't you see? You did not just change, you were able to inspire change in others as well. A lot of people care about you. She showed him her other hand and she started to tick off her points one by one. Your siblings, the villagers under your protection, and your friends. Now, you can add the shinobis you commanded to that. So please, 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 be careful and do enjoy the peace that you helped create with us. You deserve it and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. If they do, they will just have stick it up their she suddenly stopped, blushing profusely yet again. Their asses, Gaara supplied, an amused twinkle evident in his sea foam eyes. She cleared her throat and continued. Ha ha, anyway. This might not mean much to you because you don't know me and I obviously don't know enough about you. But still, I'll go all the way here. The girl took a deep breath and gazed directly into his eyes and said, I want you to know that. Somewhere out there, there's a kunoichi who believes in you. I'm very, very proud of all that you've done. And that I wish you all the love and happiness always. That's it, I'm done. Now, where's? She tries and fails to get a piece of bread. The girl blinked and gaped a bit. She grabbed the bag and promptly shook it. It's empty. Gaara is holding the last of the mocha buns. I thought you didn't want it anymore, was his explanation. She giggled at the unexpected display. It's fine, I'm glad that you liked it. That's my favorite comfort food actually. It's sweet but not really. You know what I mean. I don't like sweets. Except for these mocha buns, Gaara mumbled, eating the last piece. When you ever come to Kurigakure, I'll bake and cook for you, anything you want I promise, the girl said. So, what's your favorite food? So I can make it. When you come to Kurigakure. She stumbled through the question, looking at anywhere but his face. Salted tongue and gizzards, he replied, surprising them both, one less noticeable than the other. I see. She tapped her lips in thought. That's a bit tricky, but I'm willing to rise up to the challenge. I'll make you the best salted tongue and gizzards you'll ever taste in your life. Gaara offered her a hand and said, I'm looking forward to it. A small but warm hand squeezed back, sealing the promise. When the girl withdrew her hand, she suddenly spun on her seat, giving Gaara her back. She raised her palms to cover her flaming cheeks, willing them to cool down. And no wonder this place has a lot of customers, their ramen is delicious. Indeed. Besides, it's nearly dinner time. Huh, it's that late already? She asked, whirling back to look at the clock. Mizukage-sama will murder me. I have to go. Hajimemashite Kazekage-sama. Bye bye. She gave him a quick smile, jumped off her chair, and ran off. That girl was unusual. She's a bit forward, yet Gaara could tell that she's truly concerned for him and everything she told him were her genuine feelings. That thought inexplicably warmed him. He was about to leave when he noticed their empty bowls on the table. I'm back, Shinobu exclaimed as she closed the door behind her. Sorry I'm late, Mei-sama. You won't believe who I bumped into today. The Mizukage and her companions were staying in a simple yet elegant hotel, in the middle of Konoha. The suite they were assigned had 3 rooms and a small kitchen which also served as their dining area. They were on the 3rd floor so it took a bit of effort to navigate. Shinobu took a chair in front of the Mizukage, placed her palm on her cheek, and sighed dreamily. Shinobu had rushed back to the inn after she realized that she had been out longer than she was supposed to. She was one of the Jonins accompanying the Mizukage in the 5-cage summit in Konoha. They didn't allow guards in the conference room today, they said it was unnecessary. Since Mei-sama told them to relax while she was in the meeting, Shinobu decided to take advantage of the unexpected day off and explore the place for a bit. It's not every day that she got a chance to see another hidden village after all. Due to the Kurigakure's isolation in the former Mizukage's reign, it was her first time coming to another hidden village as a tourist. This newly found peace was truly amazing. Shinobi could meet other shinobis from the 5 great nations without the threat of violence. Finally, they can enjoy life with one another. Shinobu walked around to visit the many different shops in Konoha. She went to the dresses first. Who knew that they have such cute clothes? Shinobu gushed and promptly lost herself in them. The styles here are very different from her home. Konoha's colors are light and they lean towards the pastels, while in Kiri, black is the height of fashion. Most of the clothes in Kiri have sleeves, but here, there were sleeveless or even one-shouldered designs. Shinobu tended to wear light colors herself and she loves to try out new styles, so the clothes here really were her taste. But, she had spent her money to buy her baking ingredients, so the clothes were too expensive for her and she ended up not buying anything. She gave lingering glances at the dresses as she left, all the while chanting, "Food is life, food is life. Food is life." In her head. She was just wandering aimlessly, doing a bit more window shopping here and there when she saw him. That spiky red hair, it could only be Sabaku no Gaara, the Godime Kazekage of Sunagaku. Everything seemed to halt for Shinobu. She froze where she stood, her heart beating wildly in her chest. And then, the unexpected happened. He actually stopped near her. Shinobu stopped breathing. If she had the guts, she could have talked to him. But what would she even say? Surely, he wouldn't talk to her. Besides, she doubts she could say anything to him. She'll probably stutter and make a fool of herself. Hi, I'm sure it's exciting and all that. Mei-sama's voice brought Shinobu back to the present. She was tapping the table between them impatiently. She looked like she had her own news to share. Her cousin usually lets her chatter on, but not today it seems. Mei-sama is staring her down, her lips pursed. She's like this when she wanted Shinobu to pay attention. But, it's Gaara-sama, Shinobu said, her voice an octave higher. I saw him. Up close. Is that so? How far were you when you saw him? Did you at least see his face? Of course I did. Actually, it was so much better than that. We were this close, Shinobu gestures to the space between them. We even ate ramen together. He was so handsome, the cool and silent type. A serious guy but polite. Really? Mei's interest was piqued. She replied, a blush tinting her fair cheeks. Gaara-sama's seafoam eyes took my breath away. Mei-sama sighed, ooh, you got it bad don't you? Hi. Well, will you finally tell me what happened? Not having details is driving me crazy. Mei-sama frowned at her. Shinobu just smiled and let out a happy sigh. She couldn't help but think back on their time together. It was awkward, it was brief, and it was also one of the best moments of her life. The last time she got close to Gaara-sama, she thought she was going to die. Shinobu just saw a rock. No, a meteor heading towards them. She thought this is it. This is as far as she'll go. Shinobu stilled herself and watched the incoming projectile calmly. She refused to cower before the enemy. She was a kunoichi and she was going to die like one, damn it. But, no matter how hard Shinobu tried, her knees still shook, and she had to bite her lips so they wouldn't tremble. The only thing she heard was the blood roaring in her ears. Shinobu knew that she should spend her final moments well, so she prayed. She didn't know if it could help, but at least it comforted her. Before she uttered the last part of her prayer, someone had already stopped the disaster. Tsuchikage-sama and Kazekage-sama. The two of them were bruised and beaten, but still, they saved the alliance. Shinobu was a part of the fourth company, so she worked closely with them. She noticed Kazekage-sama looking after Tsuchikage-sama. He even lets him be treated first. Kazekage-sama is just her age and yet, he's already doing so much. He delivered a heartfelt speech that joined the shinobis from the 5 great nations. All of them hated one another. But because of what he said and how he said it, they were willing to set their grudges aside and trust each other. Shinobu knew about Suna's cage even before that moment. He was a ruthless killer, but rumor has it that he turned a new leaf. She didn't believe it, until then. He's so cool and amazing. If they survive this war, she'll join Gaara-sama's fan club. Shinobu was standing in front and the cages were just a few paces away from her. They look tired, but she can see that they will never rest. And neither would she. As long as Gaara-sama's fighting, so will Shinobu. That was the first time she watched him, and Shinobu hasn't stopped since. She did join the fan club, and pestering Mei-sama for news about Gaara-sama became a hobby. Shinobu sighed again. She couldn't help herself. What happened today was permanently etched in her memory. She'll never forget it as long as she lived. Mei-sama gasped. Did you actually kiss him or something? She grabbed Shinobu's shoulders and promptly shook her. Tell me. Aya. She flailed in the Mizukage's hold. How could you even say such a thing, Mei-sama? I have manners, you know. Or did you forget? Mei-sama released her and shrugged. You just look so happy, so I assumed. Shinobu scowled at that. She was still a member of a noble clan, albeit a minor branch. Honestly, Mei-sama was really irritating sometimes. To think that she is Shinobu's favorite cousin. Seeing that Mei-sama was glaring at her again, Shinobu decided to continue her story. I admit, I was sort of, a bit forward with him. Shinobu started to fidget with her hands. But a heartbeat passed and she showed her resolve by raising her head again to meet Mei-sama's eyes. But I thought it was my only chance. I had to make it count, so I did. Shinobu-chan, just tell me, what did you do exactly? Mei-sama asked, folding her arms and pinning her with a menacing glare. Shinobu leaned back and twirled the ends of her hair with a finger. I was just there, minding my own business when I saw him. He was alone and he walked by me. That's when I heard it, his stomach growling. My poor Gaara-sama. She wailed the last part like she was the one who went hungry. Mei-sama rolled her eyes. Please, cut out the fangirling bits, I really don't want to hear that. I don't tell you to shut up when you talk about M. Shinobu started to speak but quickly backtracks at the look on the Mizukage's face. Alright, I get it. She waved her hands rapidly, as if to ward the cage off. Anyway, I approached him and offered him a snack. I babbled and stuttered like an idiot. Now that I think about it, he might have thought I was crazy. How embarrassing. Hi, it is. Shinobu chose to ignore her cousin's lack of sympathy. Though that was embarrassing, it had already happened and she can't do anything about it. She was on cloud 9 right now and not even Mei-sama's bad mood will dampen her spirits. Now that Shinobu thought of it, she was okay, sort of. At least, she said what she wanted. She didn't think she could do it back then, to approach Gaara-sama and actually speak to him. But she did and Shinobu was proud of herself for that. When he took one of my mocha buns and ate it, Gaara-sama said it was delicious. The man certainly has good tastes if you ask me. Shinobu placed a hand on her cheek, a dreamy smile was perched on her lips and she just stared into space. She's in her fangirl mode again. After some time, she blinked and saw that Mei-sama was snapping her fingers in front of her. From the irritated look on her face, Shinobu guessed that she had been doing it a few times now without a result. And then what happened? Oh, he tried to walk past me again so naturally, I followed him and offered him more bread. Shinobu was about to swoon again but resumed her story once she sees the unamused look on her cousin's face. We got to Ichiraku ramen, it was the best ramen ever by the way. You should try it Mei-sama. Okay. Just get to the good parts would you? Mei-sama snapped, her perfect eyebrow twitching in annoyance. Well, we ordered and then he asked me where I bought my mocha buns. I told him I just baked it and that it's my hobby and that I also bake when I'm stressed. The redhead rubbed her face with her hand. That's too much information if you ask me. You think so? Oh my goodness. Shinobu shrieked and dropped her head on the table like a puppet whose strings had just been cut. If Mei-sama said she was too much, it must be the truth. She knew Shinobu inside and out. Oh, she messed up big time. You're being too dramatic, don't you think? But you said I was too much. Hi, it's true. So, can't you tell that I'm having a moment here, Mei-sama? Oh hi, I certainly can. She replied, I just don't care. You're so mean today, Shinobu whined, her voice muffled by the table. Mei-sama lightly tugged Shinobu's ponytail. And you should finish telling your story before I get bored. A few moments passed and Shinobu recovered as if nothing happened. She lifted her face and gestured excitedly. He told me about his hobby though. You'll never guess what it is, Mei-sama. It's so cute. Gaara-sama. Cute. It's true. I'll believe it when I see it. HMPH. Shinobu crossed her arms and looked away. Mei-sama smiled a little. Oh, I was just teasing you, Shinobu-chan. When Shinobu still didn't speak, Mei-sama let out a sigh and said, Alright, Gaara-sama is cute and nice and polite. So, what happened next? Shinobu's ears perked at what her cousin said. Of course, her words were true, Shinobu had experienced it firsthand. Though she's crushing on him, Shinobu wouldn't lie about such a thing. Really, Mei-sama could be insensitive sometimes. Maybe, that's why she doesn't have a boyfriend. Shinobu bit her lips to stop herself from saying her thoughts out loud. She'd rather not die, thank you very much. You know what, Mei-sama? I actually told him that I'm glad that he has a hobby, Shinobu said, thoughtfulness entering her voice. And that I'm worried about him and that working too hard is not good for his health, so he should rest once in a while. The Mizukage's emerald eyes widened at this. Wait, you did? Hi, I can't believe it either. She slumped in her chair and covered her eyes with her arm. To think that I actually said that to his face. That's too forward of you, Shinobu-chan. He might take it the wrong way, Mei-sama scolded her, a scowl marring her pretty face. Hi, Shinobu mumbled dejectedly. He, actually told me off. Said that my concern is appreciated but unnecessary. Mei-sama nodded at this, but Shinobu continued, I didn't give up though. I told him what I really thought of him and my feelings. All of it. Again, I might never have the chance to talk to Gaara-sama, so I let everything out. She's talking to Mei-sama about Gaara-sama without so much as a stutter. Shinobu's voice was strong and her back was straight. She feels strongly about this, so she needs to make her point across. Mei-sama's eyes were like saucers, you confessed. She whispered and covered her mouth. Iye. She shrieked, looking thoroughly flustered. Why do you think I would say such a thing? I mean, he's just my crush, you know that. I won't actually do it. As if he'll pay attention to me. I probably didn't make a good impression anyway. Shinobu frantically waved a hand in front of her face, trying to cool down her overheating cheeks. I'm not even a member of the main family, and can he even marry a girl from another village? Not that I thought of marrying him or anything. So, you wouldn't marry him given the chance? Mei-sama asked, looking Shinobu straight in the eyes. Violet eyes locked with green ones for a moment. Shinobu was the first to look away, turning her gaze at the open window. I didn't say that, she replied. Shinobu's shoulders tensed, but when Mei-sama didn't say anything, she relaxed gradually. She took a deep breath before explaining herself. Well, if given a chance, I'll certainly try my hardest to win his heart. He deserves someone who'll love him, you know. She finally looked back at Mei-sama, steel glimmering in her eyes. How did you come to that conclusion, Shinobu-chan? Mei-sama asked, slumping a little in her chair. Through his eyes, Shinobu replied without hesitation. Though his face is always expressionless, his eyes more than make up for it. If you only pay attention and look hard enough, you'll probably see it too. The deep loneliness in them. I see. Mei-sama's mouth curved upwards, but she forced it down. Shinobu was about to ask what is the matter, but Mei-sama held up a hand. She let out a breath. Shinobu-chan, I need to tell you something. Shinobu leaned forward when she saw the serious look on Mei-sama's face. Then, something clanks in her pocket. She couldn't resist. She had to check what it was. Wait a minute. She rummaged in her pockets. Why do I still have money? She stilled and suddenly shot out of her seat and scrambled straight to the door. Kuso. Just tell me later, Mei-sama. I need to take care of something. I can't believe I forgot, she berated herself. Cold air rushed past Shinobu as she sprinted on the busy streets of Konoha. She felt like there was tiny sharp stones lodged in her stomach. This had never happened to her before, to be so completely obsessed with someone that she forgot everything else. Shinobu could only blame herself for this, and she intended to do that after settling her debt. For this to happen in front of Gaara-sama of all people. Oh, she could die of shame. Shinobu continued to lament while weaving through the modestly sized crowd. The restaurant's lights served as her beacon. A little more, and then Shinobu burst in straight to the counter. She cut through the line and promptly clasped her hands together and bowed her head in contrition. Gomenasai. I truly didn't mean to eat without paying, please forgive me. I have money, I'll pay you back right now. What are you talking about, miss? A shocked Ayame asked. Don't you remember me? I just ate here a while ago, Shinobu said as she raised her head. In my hurry, I forgot to pay for my meal. I know you, you're the girl with the red-haired guy who had an eye tattoo on his forehead, right? Their waitress from earlier called from behind the owner. Shinobu's face reddened at this. Hi. I mean, we're not together, she stuttered, her pitch rising by the moment. Yeah, I actually didn't imply anything, the other girl said dryly. Ayame elbowed her employee and smiled at the girl. Oh, you're with the cage. He already paid for your food, so don't worry about it. I just saw him walking in. She continued, but halts on Ayame's words. Nani? He paid for it. Shinobu shouted, all the colors drained from her face. Hi, Ayame confirmed. Miss, are you alright? Shinobu looked like she was going to faint. Hi, she said, disgruntled, before stumbling out. I'm just going to die of horror and shame somewhere. Arigato gozaimasu, sayonara. Come again, Ayame said. That girl changed emotions at a drop of a hat. How weird. Of all the people in the world, why does this have to happen to me? Shinobu muttered to herself, her hands on her flaming face. I did not just stock a cage, I harassed, lectured, and used him to pay for my expenses. This is such a disgrace. How could I show my face to him after this? Unforgivable, she screamed, using her fists to muffle the sound. Shinobu saw that people were giving her strange looks, so she hunched her shoulders and quickened her pace. She took the first turn she saw. She needs to get out of there. When Shinobu stopped feeling the stares, she finally slowed. Just great. Who knew what they thought of her back there? She sighed mournfully. So much for an impression. I only made bad once. It's either I'm crazy or I don't pay for my food or I'm forgetful. Why me? Shinobu ran her fingers through her hair, messing it up in the process. Shinobu was trotting listlessly. There was a heaviness in her step that was not there before. The bright lights of Konoha seemed dimmer to her now. The previously idle background chatter was now a noise that grits on her suddenly sensitive ears. She was not yet ready to see Mei-sama. Shinobu knew that her cousin had something important to say to her, but she was so disappointed right now, she doubts she could listen to a word of it. When she remembered what she told her cousin earlier, it made her cringe. Coldness seeped in her insides, and there was a pressure settling behind her eyes. She really had no chance after that. After taking a few wrong turns due to her aimless trudging, Shinobu's spirit finally lifted when she was hit with a sudden realization. I can make it up to him somehow. She stopped walking to contemplate her thoughts. Shinobu noticed that she ended up near the Yamanaka flower shop. Though it's getting late, people still formed a line to get in. She moved to the side so she won't be jostled by the crowd and so she could smell the flowers. Their sweet scent always calmed her down and helped her think. But how? Shinobu tapped a finger on her lips. She closed her eyes and thought hard. If she apologized, he might brush it off and say that it's nothing. She didn't think that he would make a big deal out of it, but still, she prefers not to be remembered as the girl who escaped her tab. Besides, Shinobu wants to do something for him regardless. Sending him a gift was out of the question. He might think she was really a stalker then. Not to mention that it might start unwanted rumors. Shinobu didn't think Gaara-sama would like that. How about, I know, I'll just make him a bento box. Shinobu clapped her hands in delight. This is perfect. Shinobu had it on good authority that she is a great cook, so Gaara-sama won't be disappointed with her gift. The chance to see him again was just a bonus. She promised to cook for him after all. Since he paid for her food, she'll just make good on her word earlier than planned. With this firmly in mind, Shinobu heads for their hotel with a determined look on her face and a steadily growing mental list of what she'll need. She can't fail, she won't allow herself to. Shinobu's head was high and her shoulders were straight back. She's walking with purpose now and she couldn't. Thanks for watching.